Hello Malaysians, welcome back to my channel. For this video, I will be talking about the upcoming ASEAN Summit that will be held here in our country, hosted by us and specifically the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, which also includes one of the guests, Mr. Donald Trump, who is the President of the United States, to come here so that we can have a good discussions on a lot of issues with regard to social, economics, as well as political matters. Now, the problem arises to me is when there are a group of people who seems to think that they would be treating themselves like a hero by demonstrating against Donald Trump because of the Gaza issue or the Palestinian issue, and this is an opportunity for them to hurl abuses, insult, to make themselves heard, so-called, in terms of telling Donald Trump off with regards to the aspects of humanitarianism, as well as the stopping of the war and its better treatment of the Palestinian people against the atrocities of Israel. And there is no argument from anybody that this is an issue. But the problem here that I see is that how do we treat our guests? Now, it is one thing for the opposition party and also other Malaysians who think that they do not like Anwar Ibrahim by burning his effigy, by asking him to turun, by insulting him to turun Anwar and turun other people. Well, it's one thing for me to see such behavior against our elected leaders. We are showing something that we are copying from the West under the concept of so-called freedom. But to me, freedom doesn't mean that you insult people. You explain, you express it in a most professional manner. That's what I understand from demonstration. You shout, sure, but then you shout with a certain decorum. But here, there doesn't seem to be any decorum. You can call barwa, you can call many kind of very bad language to the ministers. But it is one thing to talk about our people, which I disagree that using such language. It's another thing to talk about a leader of another country. Even though it could be Netanyahu or it could be Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. These people are our guests. How do we treat guests? We invited them, they are coming. And so I am very disturbed to see that on the one hand, of course, the opposition is trying to play the idea that Putrajaya is trying to curry favor with Trump for the idea of replacing the issues of Palestinian or making light of the issue of Palestine. Nobody is doing that. What it means simply is that as matured democracy, we will have to engage with all sorts of people. And that is the crux of the matter or the key to politics. You cannot just say, I don't like you, so I don't want to kawan dengan you or make friends with you. I don't like you, and therefore I'm not going to be very kind to you. No. In politics, you could be friends one day and enemies the next, but it should be done in a cordial and also something that will not jeopardize our whole country. Of course, you may not like Anwar Ibrahim, that's fine. But to jeopardize the whole country, our relationship in the future, and our relationship not only affecting Malaysia, but also affecting ASEAN. And so, with due respect to all those people who want to play up the issue of the Palestinian, and I use the word play up because there is such a thing as a limit. Yes, we are all concerned about the Palestinian, we are all concerned about the atrocities. I am concerned, everybody is concerned, but how do we react? Now, if we can choose to react maturely, we can choose to react professionally, but here I think we seem to be acting immaturely, and we are acting opportunistically in order to put out our party to show that we are the heroes even though we've sent ships, flotillas after flotillas, and all that. But again, we still want to have our, what we call it, pound of flesh with Mr. Trump. Now we know that it is not about Mr. Trump being a volatile person, or even he having problems in his own country with people rejecting him with regard to his policy. That's his business, and that's not our business. We need to respect the Americans for electing him, and also respect the other Americans for now questioning him and rejecting him in many of his actions. But whatever it is, it's jangan jaga tepikan orang, as the Malay say. But here is about the guests. Now, the some of this party or some people who claim to be Muslim, you should listen to the story of how the Prophet Muhammad treated his guests that he did not like. Go back to the hadith and look at the story where the Prophet Muhammad was criticizing a particular person to his wife and saying this person is very bad, this person is so one of the worst that he had met, and things like that. And suddenly when the person arrived at his house, he accepted the person in the most courteous manner, and then they talked, and he treated him as a guest, and then when he left, his wife said, I thought you didn't like the person, but you treated him so well. Well, of course, he said, he's a guest to our house, and guests must be treated in the best possible way. There is also another hadith that says guests to the Muslims, there's an obligatory duty for Muslim to treat the guests very well, with shelter, with food, and that the owners also eat the same way for 3 days. And after that, it is called sadaqah, meaning the Prophet didn't say that the person should leave or should go away and things like that. But it can be said, but the Prophet didn't say that. He said after that, if you allow, it's considered a blessing in sadaqah, not a reward in obligatory duty. So in the hereafter, there is a reward for obligatory duty, but there is also a reward for charity or sadaqah, which is extra, above and beyond. And so that is how the Prophet have implied that. Also, when the Prophet met the Quraysh, who was his enemy, and they sat down to do several what do you call treaties, he treated them very well, because that's the professional and the political thing to do. But I don't understand why some people who says that they are fighters of Islam, and they use the idea that, you know, in order to save some people, then we must be harsh, we must be insulting, and also we do not respect the professional way and treat in a decorum manner, and all these things. Now, some other people are very jealous that this would put Malaysia and the unity government, as well as Anwar Ibrahim, in a platform that other prime ministers have not. One particular one, very old prime minister, very jealous, I think. So he's using again the Palestinian issue. I'm so sorry to see that so many people are using this Palestinian issue for their own selfish gain, for popularity, for viewers, for having all sorts of things that should not be associated with that. Because if we are genuinely concerned, then we are concerned, but it doesn't mean that we go all out to actually insult people or do harm to people. And of course, if you want to give a memorandum to an embassy and you're shouting all these obscenities, as well as making you look like a warrior or a fighter, no, who's going to come out to receive the memorandum? No one. If you want to do that to me, I wouldn't come out, unless you knock on the door very politely and say that we have a memorandum and things like that. Not shouting turun Fadlina, turun Anwar, turun all this thing. What kind of society are we here? Yes, we have freedom of expression, but do we need to express ourselves in this way? Okay, so it's one thing to express all this insulting manner to us Malaysian, who are ministers, prime ministers, and also other roles. But it's a whole other thing to do that to a guest. And I hope and I wish that all Malaysians must rise up against all these demonstrators, even though their cause is nice. And if they're going to demonstrate, be there very peacefully, have nice placards, say, please, Mr. Trump, help the Gazan, things like that, Palestinian, and not having to do like some countries with pictures of him in a very demeaning manner. This is not supposed to be our way. This is not, to me, an Islamic way. Right? So it shouldn't also be our Malaysian way. Just because under freedom of expression, then we want to do all these things. What we will be doing is giving a black eye to our own self. And that black eye will also cause other black eyes to other countries and other nations. And what is at stake is our future, our relationship not only with ASEAN, but our relationship with the future of the American presidents after Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to be here only 2-3 years, and that's about it. So we need to learn to do civilized engagement, but not this kind of so-called freedom of expression, freedom to demonstrate. Yes, you can do that peacefully in a manner that is what we call beradab, not biadab, especially to guests to our country. It doesn't matter which the guests are, Singapore president, prime minister, Indian prime minister, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. We need to know how to treat guests. That shows who we are as Malaysians, that are matured, that have a spiritual anchor and foundation that allow us to be who we are. Don't give in to opportunistic politicians as well as opportunistic influencers who simply wants to make themselves known and popular at the expense of our own dignity and country. With that, thank you very much.